And it's September 7th. Welcome into Daily Cards Live here on ClaibsOnline.com, presented by Mungenast St. Louis Acura and Royal Banks of Missouri. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Bob Ramsey. And Rammer, I'm going to use an old Howard Balzer in ism to talk about yesterday's game. Hey, if you take away the first inning, it was a decent game for the Cardinals.
Well, yeah, but even with that, you're hoping for a 0-0 tie.
1-1, yeah, 1-1 tie. Yeah, I guess so.
1-1.
Not the greatest start for Miles Michaelis yesterday.
No, it wasn't. When you take a look at, we've talked about it before, when you're counting on guys to do really more than they're capable to be able to create your formula for winning, it's just not sustainable. Occasionally you can get it. You know what I mean? Occasionally a Miles Michaelis coming off a long injury layoff can give you 4 or 5 really good innings, keep you in the game. But then you have to also find a way to score some runs. And then you also have to make sure you play great defense. And then you also have to make sure that you have somebody who can get the last 3 outs. And this is just not a team that can do that every day. Having said that, as disappointed as everybody is emotionally, the Cardinals, while not a favorite, are still absolutely in the hunt for that last wild card spot.
Let me ask you this, and I'm not really asking you to dig too deep into the minor leagues. I don't know how knowledgeable you are of what the Cardinals might have in Memphis or Springfield or wherever. But you talk about those guys and those arms, and we know they've had a lot of injuries so far this year. But given the makeup of the Cardinals organization right now, do you feel the arms are in the organization to answer those questions in 2022?
No, I don't think. I think you have to. Evaluate, is Jordan Hicks going to come back and be your closer? Do you think he's going to be fully recovered? I think the answer is probably yes. I still think you need, at worst, a number 3 starter. I think you need somebody who's a legitimate winner in the starting rotation. Then you let the rest of the chips fall, all the other starting candidates who all have question marks. You need another guy you can count on to go with a presumptive choice of Adam Wainwright and presumably Flaherty, and so Jack Flaherty. So then the other guys fill in behind it. But to say absolutely, right now you've got 5 guys who can fill a rotation and you're ready to go to battle with them, and you've got a closer and a setup guy and you're all set to go. That's a stretch. I think you need to at least bring in one guy. And typically the Cardinals will look around and find some bullpen help outside the organization as well.
Yeah, and you do assume that next year Dakota Hudson will at least be given a very good opportunity to earn one of those 5 starting spots. They're actually going to throw him another rehab assignment where they're going to try to push him to about 60 or so pitches now. And if you're getting up to that 60 pitch mark down in, it's September down in the minor leagues, that's telling me that you're going to bring him up and try to see what he has at the end of the year up at the major league level. They're not just going to shut him down and say, okay, you know what? Hey, that was good. We'll see what you have next year. I really feel like they're going to say, you know what? Hey, let's see how you do in a major league setting these final 2 weeks of the season. And we'll see what we have for next year, a little more evaluation for what we will go into the offseason with.
And a perfect example of every one of the starting candidates having a question mark next to their name, including Jack Flaherty with the shoulder. Shoulders are scary, man.
It's just it's a little bit of everything. That it's, multiple parts of his body have been hurt so far this year. So
yes,
and you and I both, and this isn't from a professional athlete standpoint, but just a normal human standpoint, that when one part of your body hurts, you start to overcompensate in other areas, and then you end up hurting other parts of your body.
Yeah.
And the same thing will go with professional athletes. So you just kind of assume, that Jack Flaherty will need to rest an awful lot this offseason and come back strong next year. But you still do expect to see him at some point this year. Yeah. Hey,
absolutely.
speaking of injuries that just kept piling on and this and that, Albert Pujols starts tonight for the Dodgers.
Nice.
We know he'll be at first this evening with J.A. Happ on the mound. So today and Thursday, Albert Pujols will start. Thursday, possibly, and we'll touch on this on Thursday, could possibly be the last time that Albert Pujols ever plays a game in Busch Stadium, based on whatever his future might be, which, by the way, too, over 40,000 yesterday. We talked about this yesterday on the show. Over 40,000 showed up to the game yesterday on Labor Day. And there were multiple reports in the press box that there was a loud chant of "We want Albert" during the game. I don't think it was for Jeff Albert. I think it was for Albert Pujols. I don't... unless the word "fired" was at the end of that, I don't think they were chanting that yesterday. But there, but I imagine we will get another 40,000 plus at Busch Stadium again tonight to see Albert Pujols in the starting lineup for the Dodgers.
Yeah, it'll be nice, and the Cardinal fans will give him a great tribute. Plus the thousands of Dodgers fans who will be at the ballpark as well. It will be a warm welcome for him, and probably every time he gets an at bat today and Thursday, and appropriately.
You also know too, Yachty sat out yesterday. You know damn well Yachty is going to stand out in front of home plate and milk that for him as long as possible, to where I imagine Albert will have to grab him by the back of the jersey and pull him back.
Come on, let's play ball.
Yeah, stop this. Go back and catch.
Yeah, Pujols is for the first half of his career is the best right-handed hitter I ever saw. Now, with the caveat, when I was a little kid, I saw Willie Mays and Henry Aaron, but I was a little kid, and you're not really objectively, looking. So with that caveat, so really since, from the mid 70s on, he's the best I've seen. And I thought the guy would, I think he was better than Frank Thomas, who I absolutely adore, by the way. And it's funny, both of them dropped off dramatically in the second half of their careers, but both clearly marvelous Hall of Famers.
And, I was going to bring up Frank Thomas as well, because you said you had Aaron and Mays. I had Frank Thomas when growing up, and that's who I watched. And that's what helped me fall in love with baseball. When you go back, and I don't, kids nowadays don't do this the way you and I did. When you go back when you were a kid and you would look at stats and you would look at the back of the baseball card,
right.
Look at the program. And if you go back and you do that for Albert, or you do that for Frank Thomas, or you do that for some of the other greats, and you see some of the numbers they were putting up in their prime, in their MVP seasons that they had, it is so remarkable to look back and see what we had. And I think recently, over the past few years, you've seen people do that when you put Mike Trout's first 10 years up against Albert Pujols' first 10 years, because Mike Trout has undoubtedly been the best overall player in baseball during the last decade.
Yeah.
And when you look at his numbers and how most of them don't come anywhere close to what Albert did during his time in St. Louis, to wrap your head around that and to realize what we got to watch here is just, it really... I think in a way we know what we had, but it still is so underappreciated.
I think both can be true. I agree with that. And you look at some of the greats, we're talking about right-handed hitters in particular. This is off topic a little bit, but names started to go through my head, and I didn't get to see his great years. I was too little. And he doesn't come up when you talk about the arguments of all-time greatest shortstops. Look at Ernie Banks' career numbers when he was playing shortstop before his knees blew out. And just mind-boggling, crazy numbers for a half dozen years, 7-8 years. And then Ernie, unfortunately, both of his knees went, and he went to first base, and he was still really, really good, not great. but you start to compare those first half of careers with Pujols and Thomas and Ernie Banks and some of those guys. I mean, it's up there where the air is crisp, and not very many can get to that level.
Yeah, I know we had a similar conversation a few weeks ago with Miguel Cabrera as far as the right-handed hitters, but
yeah, exactly.
And even and the back of the baseball stuff and the stats. I mean, that you could still even that stuff like that's even true for lefties, for any hitters, for any pitchers. When you look at that, and the same could be true when you look at what Ken Griffey Jr. did in his Seattle days compared to when it all dropped off when he went to Cincinnati and had the progress, had the production just kind of, plateau.
Well, he kept getting hurt.
Yeah. But just to look and see just some of the numbers that were put up, and then in some cases, think about what else was happening in baseball during those times and just how unreal some of the numbers were back in the day. It's fun to do. I don't think it's done enough these days by younger fans, but it still is it's a nice thing to go back and do if you want to just have some fun with numbers and just look back at how good some of these guys were.
Yeah, to me, I've always appreciated history. It's funny you mentioned Griffey. I was, for whatever reason, and this is why I'm such a nerd, I was randomly looking at his numbers. It was either this morning or last night, and just crazy. And it's a shame that the injuries kind of caught up to him by the time he came over to the National League. Just what a marvelous, marvelous player, all-round player, great defender, good arm, could run. He had it all. Just what a tremendous athlete of the last generation.
Yeah. Hey, back to tonight's game on the mound tonight for the Dodgers. As much as we talk and we rant, we rave about how good this roster is and how great this pitching staff is and the payroll and the all-stars, tonight they start a guy that they just called up from AAA named Mitch White, a righty, to maybe calm some of the fears of Cardinal fans who think that they might get no hit by a no-name tonight. He is right-handed, not left-handed.
That helps.
So yeah, that'll account for 3 hits at least by the Cardinal starters. But a 26-year-old out of Santa Clara University has played a couple games already for the Cardinal or for the Dodgers this year and last year. 3 innings last year, 38 2/3 this year for the Dodgers.
Yeah, I think that touches on what could be the one weak spot for the Dodgers in postseason if they don't have Kershaw at 100%. If they do, I think I mentioned this yesterday. If they do, I'm all in with the Dodgers as the favorite. But if they don't, I mean, you take a Hall of Famer, whether it's out of your lineup, out of your rotation, out of the closer role, you take a Hall of Famer away from a team, it'll make a difference. They need to get him back, and tonight, I think, is an example of why.
Yeah. Just the other day, I guess last outing for Mitch White, as he was just recalled yesterday. The last time out was on August 29th, 3 1/3 innings pitched, 3 runs on 6 hits. Before that, went 7 1/3 against the Pirates, allowing just 2 hits and no runs out of the bullpen in a relief appearance for the Dodgers in that game. So has impressed during his time up here in the big leagues. No lineups just yet for the Cardinals or the Dodgers. It's a 6:45 game tonight. But as we mentioned early in the show, and as Dave Roberts mentioned over the weekend, Albert Pujols will be in the lineup tonight for the Dodgers, starting tonight and Thursday against the Cardinal lefties.
So the lineup nerd guy, does Bellinger play? Does Muncy play? Where does he play? Then what do you do with Seager and Trey Turner? A wonderful problem for Dave Roberts to have so many choices, and he can mix and match. I don't think Bellinger will play. And, would they want to give Seager a day off and move Trey Turner to short and leave Muncy in? I don't know. That's something that could happen. Or maybe they give Muncy the day off. Just say, hey, take the day.
Yeah. So we'll see. That lineup should be out in a few hours. as we're going a little early here today on Daily Cards. Rammer, quickly, a word from our friend at Royal Banks.
Royal Banks of Missouri for over half a century, over 50 years in our town, looking to help you achieve your financial goals, whether they're little, big, small, whatever you need from the banking industry. Royal Banks provides it for you with great service. Easy to get on board. Call 314-212-1500. Of course, you can go online to royalbanksofmo.com. It's a great website to get you started. Royal Banks, where better service means better banking. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Hats for today. I went and I dug this one out. Just a Notre Dame hat. I think I bought it for $1 out of a bin somewhere once, and I think it was matching whatever I was wearing that day. So I brought it out. Hey, they won their week 1 game this past week against Florida State, 41-38. I'm in no way any big Golden Domer fan. I have the hat. That's that's the story behind it.
Well, for me, it's one of my all-time favorites. I generally only wear it at Christmas because of the colors. It is Hockey Team Canada lid, Nike lid, snapback, and I absolutely adore this cap. It's my Christmas cap.
Speaking of hockey, I haven't listened to it yet, but our friend Cam Jansen and Andy Strickland, the Cam and Strick podcast, for people out there, I saw they have Craig Berube on their show this week. So I imagine that's going to be good listening for any fans of the Blues.
You would think so, absolutely.
Which I imagine we have many that watch this show as well every day.
I'm a big fan of Berube. No, just kidding, guys. I love Cam and Strick. I love them.
At least, Cam can beat you up. Strick, maybe you but yeah, at least make sure that Cam knows that you like him.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Hey, this has been Daily Cards Live each and every weekday, presented by Mungenast St. Louis Acura and Royal Banks of Missouri. He's Bob Ramsey. I'm Joe Roderick. You're watching us right here on ClaibsOnline.com.
St. Louis Acura is excited to announce the opening of our newly remodeled service lounge. We sell pre-owned vehicles of all makes and models and take pride in servicing what we sell. We offer free pickup and delivery service and a complimentary car wash and vacuum with every service. We also have a full-service reconditioning shop on site that can repair dents, bumpers, and wheels. As the nation's only 29-time Acura Precision Team winner for customer satisfaction, we work every day to make St. Louis Acura better than ever for you.